Good morning. It's Monday, May 23rd, and today I want to talk about a subject that is very painful. I want to talk about the situation surrounding the shooting of those 13 people in Buffalo. Now, when I was growing up, I had parents that were pretty lenient, and we were allowed to do a lot of things that most of my friends couldn't do, but my parents always knew what was going on. And if I got out of line a little bit, then they dressed me down appropriately and we moved on. We were very open and we knew everything that was going on. And my folks knew that I was doing well or poorly in school. And my brothers, we all had a nice relationship and we had great times at the dinner table every night arguing about a lot of different things. And in fact, when my brother was getting married and he brought my sister-in-law to the table, she was shocked because at her dinner table nobody spoke. But that's the way it was. So when I'm listening and reading about this young man, Peyton Gendron, who shot these people, and I recognize the fact that he was doing an awful lot of things in and around his house, and his parents didn't seem to know what was going on. According to what I read, he himself said, my parents were troubled with my behavior, but they never truly understood what I was doing. And I can't believe that at 100% anyhow, because this guy was writing a manifesto that reports say is somewhere between 500 and 600 pages. And he's admitted to being a white supremacist and an anti-Semite. And he was quite happy and open about that. So I'm just mystified that his parents missed all of this thing. And he had two brothers also. So he went to school. He graduated from Susquehanna Valley High School or something. And then he was a student at Broome Community College in New York. And he stopped going there in March. He stopped going to school, but his parents didn't even know that he wasn't attending school. And he would take these drives, these long drives to Buffalo to plan this vicious attack. He even was picked up once for speeding on the way, and he got a ticket and everything. And his father bought him a rifle when he was 16 years old so he would learn how to hunt. And now his parents are educated and they're working for the Department of Transportation as civil engineers. I don't know exactly what that means, but between the two of them, between he and his father and his mother, they earned about $185,000 a year, probably a very nice salary, living in a town like Conklin. And Conklin itself is a very interesting place because it's 5,000 people live in the town of Conklin, and there's probably less than 1% of that population is of color. So it's a totally white community. And he lives in a house that was bought about 20 years ago for $116,000. And then when I read a little bit more about the house, this was more than a house because it contained it was on 17 acres of land. Now, I don't know what they were doing with 17 acres of land. Maybe they grew stuff and they planted and did things like that. But it's a mystery to me how this young man could spend 6 months planning this operation, this killing, and his parents are not aware of it. And his brothers don't seem to be aware of it. And I don't know how old his brothers are, whether they were younger than him or older than him, whether they're even living in the house at this point. I know nothing about that, So it was in this house that Peyton spent months figuring out his plans to conduct the mass shooting. And he kept this digital journal. And he said his exposure to 4chan, that's Number 4, CHAN, is an online message board known as a hotbed of extremism. And that site kept him motivated to stick to his plans. And every time that he would have second thoughts about doing this thing, about doing this mass killing, he would go to these sites and get reinvigorated. So he said openly that he started to use 4chan a few months after COVID started. And he kept on posting to that site and to the site called Discord, which was the site that was taken down almost immediately after the attack. Right? And another interesting thing is that he used one of these sites to communicate to 30 people that he was going ahead with this attack. And not only did he communicate to them that he was going ahead with this attack, he created a platform so that when he was filming this attack on his phone, these 30 people would be in the audience watching him shoot people in the Tops supermarket. Now, can you imagine that? He sends out a text or some message to 30 people that he's about to go on a shooting rampage, and not one of these people thinks about calling the police or the FBI or the government to stop this shooting. And as far as I know, as of right now, none of these people have been communicated with or found or came to the police station or were picked up by the FBI or anybody. So he spends months planning this thing and writing about it, and sets up a platform to take the pictures of his shooting, and nobody knows. His parents don't know, his brothers don't know. These 30 people who got invitations don't say anything. That's a sad, sorry state that this country is in when this kind of thing can happen, and nobody steps up to stop it. And while he readily admits his parents thought something was wrong, they didn't really take any action. They didn't really dig deep. While he was accumulating his arsenal and his armor, his body armor and everything, he spent over $1,000 getting everything ready with his helmets and everything, getting everything ready to go and perform this evil deed, and yet nobody in his immediate circle knows what's going on. I find that very strange. I find that very disheartening. I find that there are too many parents in this country who don't know what their kids are doing, or are really misleading their children in the ways of life. Because I believe that you don't become a white supremacist or an anti-Semite or a hater of Asians without some parental guidance. There's something that parents do that they must be held responsible for the actions of their children. And I leave you with those thoughts today. They're not pleasant, but I leave you with them. Bye.